money. They all need money.
What up, everybody? I am your host, J5, and welcome to the Block Podcast, where we focus on entrepreneurial growth as well as social issues and injustices that surround the urban community, bringing to you real-life experience for the advancement of business development. Okay, today we have a very special guest. But before we step out on the block, of course, I got to show love to the people who pay me. So, let's get it. Whether it be business or personal, you need professionals that can supply you with all your personal protection equipment. So when it comes time to have masks, gloves, hand sanitizer, or reliable disinfectants for the studio to keep me and my guests safe, I know ROI Marketing and Safety have got me and my guests covered. So log on to www.roippe.com or drop them an email at sales@roippe.com and let them keep you and yours safe. Okay, let's step out on the block. Oh yeah, first, adjust your crown. Today's guest is a true representative of Indiana, so much that it's in her title. I guess you could say it's who she is. She is a shining example to all little girls and what they can accomplish. She represents not only the beauty on the outside, but the true beauty that lies within. She is a college graduate, a new bride, a business owner, and an ambassador for several organizations. And wait for it, that's right, our very own Mrs. Indiana 2020. I'd like for you to welcome to the Block Podcast, Mrs. Indiana 2020, Justice Kelly. Mrs. Indiana, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well. I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome.
It's been a great weekend. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, again. Let's try it again. Let's do it all over.
Yes.
Sorry about the last time. But we're gonna knock it out the park again today, though. It doesn't matter anyway. So just so everyone knows, not that they are gonna confuse you with all that going on right there, who you are, but go ahead and share who you are and who you are.
Yes. So my name is Justice Kelly, and I am the current reigning Mrs. Indiana 2020. I have been Mrs. Indiana since July, so definitely been a pleasure. It's been an amazing year so far. I'm excited to share a little bit more. Yes, amazing, interesting, different.
Yeah, all of that.
Yes, for sure. But just really excited. I'm from Indianapolis and live in Bloomington, so it's definitely been a pleasure not only representing those communities, but even throughout the year being able to travel and visit counties and cities I had never been to before.
Okay. And because you graduated from Bloomington.
Yes, I did. Yep.
And you were Miss...
I was Miss Indiana University in 2016. So
Okay.
yeah, Mrs. Indiana is not my first title or first time competing. I've had a few years under my belt, and yeah, Miss IU is definitely a fun year.
How many pageants have you done?
Mrs. Indiana was my 9th. So yeah, before competing, I was trying to count and just reflect on like, how many times have I done this? And I mean, each time has literally been so different and rewarding. But yeah, this was my 9th time competing.
So how many titles have you held?
I've held 5. So I want to get my math right. I believe, because I was kind of giving someone advice when they were trying to decide if they wanted to compete. And for me, it's really important that people know it's not just about winning. Like, there's so much that you can get out of this when your goal is beyond a crown and sash. So I want to say I've lost more times than I've won. And I think that's really important for people to just know that within this industry, really within any field, pursue your dreams, go after them, but know that a no or a closed door doesn't mean it's over.
Well, you didn't get the crown, but you didn't particularly lose.
Oh yeah, that's true. And that's such a good way to put it.
You didn't get the crown,
Right.
but you didn't particularly lose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you made connections, right? You know what I mean? Opportunities for the next pageant or whatever. So
Yeah.
losing,
I love that.
you just didn't get the crown.
Yeah. I love that.
You know what I mean?
That's a good
I mean, that's
perspective.
how, I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, I think that's a great perspective. I think if you have that type of mindset, you win no matter what the outcome is. So I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's good for me to hear.
That's kind of the mindset I try to adopt. Just what I've been through in life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes we might not even know, what the meaning of what happened was. You might not even know. It might not even be meant for you to know. It might be meant for someone down the line or someone witnessing it. You know what I mean? It might not even been for you, but I always believe that there's something, it was a reason, it was something to learn from it.
Yeah.
Regardless if it didn't turn out my way or not, it's something to learn. What did I get out of it? You know what I mean? I might not have got the ultimate goal, the crown, but what else did I get? Instead of just being down about the one thing that I didn't get, how about try to look at some of the things I did get?
I love that. That's a great reminder.
Sometimes I need it.
Yeah.
I need help.
No, that's good. That actually reminds me of, that sounds really similar to advice that I was given a few years ago. So, I mean, those words that you just shared, I think, are so incredibly wise. A few years ago, someone shared with me a story about they're missing their flight, that later they found the engine to that plane had some issues, and what they were so disappointed about and frustrated, later thanking God that I did miss my flight. And so I think just like weird moments like that, and I mean, competing in a pageant, people, might not see the same or whatever that outcome is, but I think it is important to remember, like, wherever you are in life, like, you are supposed to be there.
Exactly.
And kind of taking that same thing on the stage, like,
man.
if I win, I'm supposed to. If I don't, I'm not supposed to, and just having peace and comfort in that. So I love that.
Exactly. Now, with that state of mind, okay, how do you feel about having to carry your crown through all of 2020?
Yeah. Yeah.
It hasn't been the most glamorous for someone of glamour.
Yeah. I love it. You're good with words. It's like you run a podcast. You're really good with your words.
Sometimes. I thought about it.
I thought
about doing it.
I love it. And I think that's such a good question, because I know I kind of opened up with saying it's been an amazing year. And I do really mean that, even though the year has looked much different than I expected it to.
Exactly.
I think for me, even what we're talking about now, like knowing that everything is intentional and you are where you are for a reason, and the year that I'm having as Mrs. Indiana, though it looks different than I thought, like after really just spending some time reflecting, I am honored to serve during this year that has been so challenging. I'll talk a little bit later about my platform and things that have really connected to this year. But you're absolutely right. Not all of this year has felt glamorous. It's definitely, there have been days and many, many days that I've been challenged with the climate of this year, with where we are as a country, and in so many different dynamics. But I do see this as a platform that allows me to say, you know what, we can spend this entire podcast talking about the issues. What are solutions? What can I do to contribute to the change that I want to see? So that's what I'm doing and trying to do more of as Mrs. Indiana. And I think that we all have that opportunity to, whatever our platform is, make a difference.
Well, I heard something, and I still can't remember, but I know this guy was a billionaire. I know that. And I cannot remember exactly who he was, but I remember him saying something, and I just thought when I heard it, I was like, you know what? I'm living my life like that from now on. And he said, never turn down an opportunity. He said, you take that opportunity, and when you get in there, you figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but don't turn down an opportunity. He said, you get yourself in there. And I say that because, I mean, even though you didn't necessarily accept, you won the crown, but the responsibility is still placed on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? This opportunity is still placed on you. You could either, you know what I mean, look at everything that's going on in 2020, politics and you know, everything else that's going on, and you could fold.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say, oh, wow, you know what I mean, this sucked that I won this year. This is just crappy. You know what I mean? My whole Miss Indiana just went down the drain. Or you could say, look what I've been put into. You know what I mean? This is a challenge to make this good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most women that win, they come in this, it's already good.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You have to actually try to make it good. And that's a responsibility. And I think, you know what I mean? I think when the years go by and we look back on this, I think, you know what I mean, people will look at you completely different.
Mm.
And when I say that, I mean, like, from other pageant winners, you will be looked at different because of what you had to go through, because of everything that's been thrown on you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So how's that, you know what I mean, how's that, you know, played upon you, like the protest and politics and, you know, just the violence in our city alone?
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know, how much of a strain or challenge is that for Mrs. Indiana and your platform which you hold?
Yeah, so just for a little background, my platform is called Building Inclusive Societies. It allows me to focus on the importance of inclusion and acceptance and belonging. So, you know, having a platform in 2020 where you are raising awareness of what those practical things are that we can do to make spaces more diverse and equitable and inclusive. It's something that I think is very timely to be in this year and to be talking about the things that I'm talking about. But I will say it has been a challenge in a lot of ways. I found myself at many points throughout the year kind of wondering, when I have this hat on, when I am Mrs. Indiana, can I speak my truth? Can I share my experience? You know, not knowing if it's more proper, or, you know, do you have to stay neutral in all things? And I think for me, and this
the
isn't...
topic's a little heavier.
Yeah. And this what
year.
I'm saying now isn't to
you.
say, right.
Yeah.
What I'm saying now isn't to say, like, this is the universal formula that works for everyone. This is what I found to work for me this year. And so that has been to use my voice, to say I have this platform for a reason. And so I'm willing to shake up the table. I'm willing to say things that might be hard for people to hear. You know, again, I think everyone has to decide for themselves what they're comfortable with doing and sharing. But for me, it's definitely been a time of asking myself, what is all this for, if at the end of the year you said, I wish I had said this, or I wish I had spoken up, I wish I had said, you know, that's actually really hurtful. That's been a thing that I've come across this year, microaggressions, where things are said that are actually insulting. And I think former me, or, you know, me a few years ago, would just, you know, have my feelings hurt but not say anything. But I recognize that now is the time, you know, if never, like now, if you've never before, you know, felt that your voice mattered, you know, just no longer waiting for permission to speak, but to recognize that your voice is needed, your voice, your perspective is needed. And that's, I think, been the beauty of it for me this year, just really walking in that boldly.
I mean, and I think it definitely, and like I said, you said everything, you know, it happens for a reason, and I believe that too. I think, you know what I mean, and I think that, you know, with you being a woman of color and holding this crown at this moment in time, I think is meant to be. Because, I mean, it's, like I said, this is challenging times, and like you said, there are a lot of sticky topics that are we're having to put out on the table now, and a lot, we kind of like shoved that to the side for a long time, and now I think we've obviously reached a point to where, especially with the following administration, that it's kind of out there on the table. And so I think with you being a woman of color and facing this challenge is awesome. I think you're right where you're supposed to be.
Oh, well, thank you.
I do.
Thank you.
I think that they say that certain people put in certain places to deal with certain challenges, and I think Justice Kelly is put in this position right now to go through this year. Though it may look not so glamorous, but I think, like I said, on the end of this, I think people can look back and go, man, she was a little different because she handled a situation that really most people might have cracked, or like you said, not spoken their truth, just kind of, said whatever they had to say just to get by, instead of being who they are. And that's what the road you've chose, is to be who you are and to stand for what you stand for.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, your platform. Now, what all have you been able to do so far? With the limitations that you got, with your platform. What all have you been able to do?
Man,
get out.
It has been such an honor, and I know that we talk about 2020 and the things that haven't been able to happen, but I will say lots of things are still happening in the works and continuing to happen. One of my really, I think, biggest accomplishments throughout this year, and where I've felt that my platform has been able to move forward in practice, like not just, let's talk about this, but like, how do we go and apply these things? And that has been through my role on a international committee for the Kiwanis International Chapter. So I'm a part of Kiwanis Clubs of Bloomington and South Central Indiana, and I was approached with the opportunity to be the United States representative for this international committee that they formed on diversity and inclusion.
Wow.
So not only was that just such an honor, kind of like even feeling a little underqualified, like little me from Indiana, like can I represent,
once again, that's one of those things that came out of it.
Yeah, very, very true. Very true. And I mean, just having this opportunity to connect with people from all over the world and, all of us.
That's a really big organization.
Yeah, it is.
It's a huge organization.
It is.
So,
yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, for me, it's been joining. So it's virtual. We have all of our meetings via Zoom, but to have the same goal of how can we make our community where each of us are living all over the world more diverse and inclusive. So much has come out of that. A lot of, things that we're kind of adding to our toolkit and resources that we're sharing out. But for me, it's been stuff that I'm like, you know what, as I learn, I'm ready to just give it all out. So I've been connecting with local businesses, just as they kind of hear about these opportunities and are reaching out. I'm able to train staff on diversity, equity, and inclusion. I've implemented and kind of helped to lead the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative at my job with Make-A-Wish. So it's just been really cool how, what for me, my platform is my passion, it's my heart, but I'm really seeing it in so many different spaces of my life, from my career to my personal life, and just what I'm doing in the community as Mrs. Indiana. Okay. That's, I think, for me, a big part of what I have taken pride in that I've been able to do. But for me, I want to never stop working in the, what is needed as far as DEI work goes. So, even today, I spoke this morning at a church in Bloomington, shared with them what my platform is, shared with them some challenges and what they can do to help make a difference. That's something that we all need. I think it's important that we recognize that it's an ongoing conversation. It's not, hey, check, I attended a training, I'm good now. We've got to keep going. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm just here to keep the conversation going. I'm here to make people uncomfortable. Sounds so funny to say.
But that's growth.
Yeah.
And for years, going through my thing, I that was one of my big things, is to do things that I didn't like to do, that made me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that, I was like, you know what, that's what I'm going to start doing, because I kind of figured, everything that I like doing had got me in a bad situation, so I figured I might as well try the opposite side, and it worked.
Yes.
But, I mean, yeah, with you, I mean, now, as far as how important is it with you being a woman of color and, being Mrs. Indiana, how important is that to little girls, that look like you,
Yeah, I think representation is extremely important. There's an experience that I had that I will never forget, and I always love sharing the story. It gives me chills, like every time I think about it. But you mentioned being Miss IU in the past, some of my background in holding titles in the past awarded me so many opportunities to be a part of parades and different community events. And so there was a parade in particular, I believe it was IU Homecoming, but this was back in 2016. I'm in a parade, and afterward, just connecting with families and kiddos. And I recall a young girl looking up to her parents, so just seeming to be mesmerized, beautiful young Black girl, just really kind of seeming to be mesmerized. And it's moments like these where you're like, oh, like they're the princess. Like, I'm looking at all these kids, like, oh my goodness, like, you're the future, you are so powerful. And I think for me, this moment that just really, in a lot of ways, has stuck with me. Her looking to her dad's and saying, she has hair like mine. I don't think in that moment I realized how powerful that was for, just even a kid to recognize, like, her hair looks like mine. Like, maybe that was the first time that I've seen.
That's how much she was looking at you.
Yeah. And maybe it's even, I've seen beauty queens before, but I've never seen one that looked like me. Or I've seen, and I think those things are so important, not just for pageantry, but that if a young Black boy wants to be a scientist, that he sees someone that looks like him, or, whatever that is, LGBTQ community. I think it's so, so important for all of our backgrounds to be represented. Just knowing that there's power in seeing. I share this a lot, but I remember growing up as a kid being told, like, you can be anything. And I think for a lot of us, if we're honest with ourselves, that's hard to believe until you see that done by someone that looks like you. That's just the truth of it. I mean, I don't know that I ever thought a young Black girl could be the vice president of the United States, but I now believe it's possible. It's happening. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, even from that experience of meeting that family and that young girl at that parade, her dad's actually reached out to me on an app. I used to babysit for families in Bloomington, and so it was just so cool to reconnect with them. And they shared with me, like, our daughter has been talking about you, and just really, really was inspired to see you as a Black woman, showing her that you too can chase your dreams, go to do whatever it is that you set your mind to. And so when you talk about being a Black woman and being Mrs. Indiana, I mean, those are the things I think about, just the power of representation and really the need for it.
It's a whole nother ballgame too, seeing something on TV versus seeing the person in front of you. You know what I mean? It's one thing to see Michael Jordan on TV. It's a whole nother ballgame to see him standing right in front of you. And it's the same as you. You know what I mean? It's one thing for her to see you on a commercial or in a parade going by, you know what I mean? But it's a whole nother thing when she's standing right there in front of you and she realizes, she's real. Like, she's me. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's got to be a pretty cool feeling that, you know what I mean, that you're in that position to be able to do that, you know what I mean?
I love that. I love that you said she is me. Like, I think that's deep, and that's what it is.
I mean, because that's what she gets to see. You know what I mean? It's like I said, it's different seeing it, you know what I mean, on social media or on a video or TV or whatever. Yeah, but to be right there that brings everything real. That makes everything real. And like I said, and she can look, you know what I mean, and she's looking at you and she sees your hair and she's like, whoa, like, she's like scoping you all the way out, like, wow, like that's really like she's got hair like mine. Like wow, like she's real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing, man.
Yeah.
I know. I wish you could have probably got more parades in and things like that this year, but you did get to come to my hometown though, and I missed it. Of course, I'm an idiot, so I'm always at work. So I look up and I'm like, hey man, she's in a parade. Wait, that's in it. Oh, okay, that's right down the street from me. All right,
yes.
And I'm at work.
That was awesome in Anderson,
yes.
Indiana. Yeah, that was definitely one of my favorite appearances that I've had throughout the year.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool event.
It was incredible.
Food. Did you eat
yes,
food
I did. Yeah, I ate too much food.
Man, the food is amazing, man. Okay, now I wanted to know what I guess we kind of touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to go a little bit more because I want how have you been able, like your platform? Now, will you be able to say, okay, first of all, you are about to go to be in 2021 Mrs. America.
Yes.
And when is this taking place?
Mrs. America takes place January 29th in Las Vegas.
Okay. All right. Now my question is do you create another platform once you become, or can you just carry your platform on over and that's what you ride with?
Yeah, so when you win your state title with the platform that you compete with, that is what you're competing with through your year. So you're saying, and kind of the question that you're asked at the state level is, if you were to win the title, what is an issue or a cause that you would champion? So that's pretty much what a platform means. It says, right. This is what my focus would be throughout the year. So that is definitely what you take on with you when you're representing your state at Mrs. America. And that, for me, building inclusive societies is the platform that I will promote.
So you're going to ride that?
Yes, at the national level.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if, you had to switch it up or what, you know what I mean? I don't know a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, and it may be that you're allowed to, but I think for me it was when I chose my platform, I knew like this is what I'm passionate about and what I feel there's a great need for.
Right.
So yeah, I'm going to continue doing the work within this space.
Okay. And so now, okay, so if we're talking January, you said 29th?
Yes.
Oh. And now, is that like the day it starts? Is that?
No, actually, that's the final day.
That's the final day.
So the big show where we find out who Mrs. America is January 29th. But for contestants, it's a week-long thing. So we'll be there from the 22nd to the 29th, have some rehearsals and practice. And I'll for sure post updates. We're still kind of awaiting details.
We get to see it when?
January 29th.
29th.
Yes.
Okay. All
yes.
right. Okay.
And as soon as I get details of where and how you can stream it, I'll be posting on Facebook and share with you as well.
Yes. So we can get that out there. We got to get that out there.
Yeah, I do have a fun announcement for just kind of an update and a decision that I made for Mrs. America. So when we connected...
This happened right here. Just so you know. This starts right here. Just get on there.
Spoilers. When we connected last, I think I was still... very much so going back and forth with what look to go to Mrs. America with, kind of feeling like there's I've always just kind of felt like there's a certain pageant look that is like most acceptable or what you see represented most. And so I think for me as a young Black woman, a lot of times have felt that I've needed to fit within that look of, what that stereotype is and not that it's, I don't mean it in a negative way, but just what you see most often.
Right.
And that's straight hair, that's long wavy hair, that's getting a sew in or what have you. And for me it was I'm gonna go glamorous and I love some good extensions, but I want to go with curly hair. I want to go with my natural curly hair, and I don't know if that I know for a while it was back and forth. It was, is that risky? Is that what judges are looking for? And then it kind of came down to, I'm just going to be me. And if the judges aren't looking for me, that's okay. But really, I'm just going to be me. I think it's important that curly hair is seen on a Mrs. America stage on every platform.
Apparently, that little girl thought it was.
Yeah. So I've been really excited about that. Just knowing that's
cool.
how I'm going and feeling really confident that way.
That's awesome. Okay, because I mean, I wouldn't have known. I mean, that was even a thing. That, you know what I mean? Like that. I guess you know what I mean. We don't know the insides of everything that goes on. I wouldn't even have thought about that as being a, you know what I mean, as being a thing. But that's cool though.
Yeah.
And that's awesome that you came to that conclusion. You know, I'm just gonna be me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you got it.
Aww.
Personally. You know, that's just me, but. I'm biased. I know mom, dad, I know everybody. So, you know, it's different. And I have to hear it from them if I say anything different, too. So what do you mean my daughter ain't going to win? What are you talking about? Now, okay, speaking of mom and dad, who's the hardest on you?
They're both pretty soft. I'm kidding. I love both my parents, and they're both amazing. But
I can see dad being a pushover. I can see him being I can see that. But mom, man, mom's about her business.
When I say that, I only mean that I really do. Just now that I'm an adult, I see the relationship that I have with my parents, and I'm just so thankful for all the ways that they have challenged me and pushed me.
They're super proud.
Yeah,
of you.
and that's what I was going to say. I think more than anything, I can just feel how proud they are of me. And that's something that I think they express really well and just really let me know, you know, that they're proud of me. So, yeah, don't want to get emotional. But
All right. Now, with all that you do, because I'm going to try to get it right here. Of course, Mrs. Indiana. Mm-hmm. And then we have to take into account what you do for Mrs. Indiana and utilizing your platform. Okay. And then you have a full-time job.
yes.
Okay.
My job is for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, so incredibly rewarding and keeps me just as busy as Mrs. Indiana does.
Okay. And newly married. Okay. Not too far off from graduating college. How do you keep up with all? Because I'm probably two or three of those things, and I'm like, I mean, I'm like just all over the place. Like, so how are you doing it? Like, I don't even know how your scheduling works. It's crazy. Just to think about it's crazy to me, but. I mean, it's got to be. How do you handle that? I mean,
so I won't say I do it well every day. I definitely have days where I'm like,
nothing like honesty.
yes. So one, I love sharing just advice that I've been given because it really has made me who I am, and I love these. I learn an analogy. So whenever someone like has a story for me, I will remember that for the rest of my life. But I want to tell you this because I think it really has kind of shaped how I handle being busy. So if you could imagine yourself as a cup filled with water, and that cup being inside a bowl, the advice that this person gave me was, you are the cup with water, and everyone around you, your environment, all the things you give to is the bowl. Okay. And it's important that we are not pouring out from an empty cup, but that we're actually pouring into that bowl from the overflow, so that our cup is so filled that everyone around us is getting what we're overflowing with. So that for me was a huge wake-up call because I definitely, for a long time in my life, and even today I'm challenged with this, found myself pouring into, work and the things I'm passionate about, my platform, and finding myself empty, like pouring out rather than being overflowed with rest and all of what you need just to be able to do well in anything. So for me, I think, when you say, how are you balancing it all? I think it has been trial and error. I think it's been falling on my face and realizing I can't do this. Like, I've got to let go of something. And sometimes that is just the reality of what is needed. Yeah. Maybe, that is strength to acknowledge and recognize maybe I can't do a million things. So yeah, I'm really trying my best to not just do all the things that I'm doing currently, but to be healthy in doing those things.
Right.
And that has for me looked like letting go of things when needed, and really just figuring out how to prioritize rest, how to prioritize self-care and mental health. I mean, I've been in therapy for several years now, and I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I think, I mean, one, if you were just black, you could use a therapist. Like literally, that's, I mean,
some point you've acquired something that needs therapy.
And I mean, really, if everyone is real with themselves, if you're a living, breathing human, like you have a reason to, talk to someone about what you're going through. So, that for me has really been a game changer.
Okay. Now here we go. Now, we spoke about this before, and I'm going to bring it up again because I want to get this out here because I thought it was interesting. I just thought the whole part of it was interesting, and that how you came about this state of mind. I was like, okay, cool. I just see flesh-eating killers, but okay, whatever. You know what I mean? So Animal Planet and Shark Week and life lessons that we could get out of that. How did you know what I mean? I watch Animal Planet. I love Animal Planet. I love all animals. I really do, and I probably know a lot of crap that I don't even need to know about animals. But never looked at just a man-eating killer and thought, man, there's inspiration here to life.
You're hurting my feelings calling sharks. So yes. I've shared, and this, I mean, I've at this point been called Shark Girl. Like how obsessed I am with sharks is getting like too much for people. But hey, I've got lessons for days that I have learned from sharks. And
don't
oh my goodness,
eat your neighbor. That's the first lesson. Okay, now let's go.
Stop it. Man. So one, I did find myself several years ago watching a documentary on, I think it was Animal Planet or National Geographic, one of those. And I love that you called out Shark Week. For me and in my house, every week is Shark Week. So I don't even know when Shark Week is because I'm like, when did it stop? But I found myself, this was several years ago, I was kind of toward the tail end of high school, and I'm watching this documentary about sharks, and I am just all in to how interesting this is, that they're saying, researchers were just puzzled trying to figure out how animals were being eaten, or how sharks, were being eaten by animals that shouldn't have been able to eat a shark, like below them on the food chain. So, it's this like several week long research project that they do. They have cameras, down in the ocean, and they're just studying all of this. And pretty much what comes out of it is they realize there's a position that you can put a shark into called tonic immobility, where if you can get close enough to a shark without it reacting, it becomes paralyzed. And animals have learned that about sharks.
That part I do know.
Yeah,
flip them over.
Yeah. And one, I mean, goodness, like just even for me learning that, I'm like, animals are so intelligent. Like how, like for them to like know a shark's weakness and know what we're like, that's crazy. But I think for me, what was so powerful about that, and I really do even accredit this revelation to changing the course of my life. I felt a lot like that shark. So as I'm watching this documentary, I'm, struggling with peer pressure.
Before or after the tonic?
All of it. During, after, just being like eaten and, taken or overcome by things that I felt like I had the power to be so much stronger than. Like I felt like at that point in my life, I was just giving in to things and just allowing life to almost like swallow me when it was like, I don't want to continue being passive. So I talk a lot about, even earlier when I was saying, me a couple years ago would have responded this way, but now, like that's something I've really been journeying through, like finding my, being assertive and learning how to speak up for myself. Like that's something that I haven't always been comfortable with. And so I don't, in so many ways, I felt like I related to sharks, just kind of being passive and not being all that I could be. So from there, and I tell everyone this, like, I decided I'm going to be a shark. Like, I'm not going to let things, just take over or let things overcome me, that I am stronger than. I am going to be how a shark should be and how they should respond is, being those power. I mean, a shark is at the top of the food chain. Like, nothing should take you down. Like, be you, be strong, be, aggressive even. And that's like a word that I think we run from, but I'm not afraid of it. Like, I'm going to speak up. I'm going to share my truth. And I'm really, more importantly, going to recognize the strength that I have. So yeah, I love sharks. I feel so connected to them, and even like we laugh. And I know you.
Really
I know
wondering
you
how
still,
that was going to come full circle, but it actually did, and I actually understand it.
I know you call them man-eating
They
or
are.
flesh-eating, whatever.
They are.
But let me just say
Killers.
this. Let me just say this. I think that in a lot of ways, I've even felt that I could connect and relate to sharks in so many different ways, but one of them being the ways that they're portrayed in media, honestly reminding me of how, as an African-American woman, I've felt media has portrayed me at times.
Wow.
Or and so to me, it's like, let's take on the responsibility of learning more, not just believing that one-sided narrative or that one perspective that was shared in Jaws, but to really take on, like, let me learn
That was
more.
a really powerful
Yeah.
statement,
Yeah. And I mean, just knowing that there's more to the story. Like, sharks, I mean, I could go on and on. I know you guys don't care about sharks, but oh my gosh, they're so gracious and beautiful. And I mean, I've just learned so much from them. So I think it's worth looking into.
I know a lot about sharks. I just never looked at it. And I actually know about the immobility. I actually know about flipping them over and they kind of go into a catatonic state.
Yeah.
I know that, but I just never really looked at it like you just did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty interesting, is that you're right. Nothing should be able to really take you down. Well, especially not what's taking you down.
Yeah.
You should, and you're right. That can only happen if they just stay passive and let whatever that creature is get close enough without raising their guard.
Yeah.
And I never looked at it that way, but that's pretty powerful, actually.
You can thank the sharks.
There you go. See, you can learn a lot from Shark Week.
You sure
I
can.
did not know. I'm aware now. Okay, so now what are some when you do win Mrs. America, what are some of the responsibilities that come along with that? Of course, we know you have to share your platform, and things like that, but what else that people might not even know about?
Yeah, so a really big part of it is, similar to what I've been doing in Indiana, traveling and seeing different communities and collaborating with amazing programs and nonprofits all across the state. It truly would be that, but advanced on a national platform. So traveling across the country, and you can absolutely, I think for me, as a title holder, I want to really focus in on building inclusive societies and programming and really just moving forward with that message. But that doesn't in any way limit me. So that's not to say that everything I do has to, be for my platform.
Exactly.
So I've just been so honored to connect with amazing organizations. I just a few weeks ago, 1 million Meal Movement is an incredible organization that is feeding thousands of Hoosiers every day.
That.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, opportunities like that.
How many meals did you guys make up? It was something crazy.
It was 16,000.
Yeah.
I was like,
16,400, something like that.
Yeah. It was incredible. Yeah. So I think for me, I bring that up as an example just to say I want to just get busy. I want to hear and learn about what is needed and how I can get plugged in. I know that in taking on that title and responsibility, it's not me saying, let me start, some new effort. I want to join in with the people that are already doing these incredible things in these communities. Let me go and learn from them and say, where can I help? How can I, magnify your voice and let everyone know what these efforts are that you're making. So that's really what I would hope to do. And travel, I love traveling and I love volunteering. And so to know that those things can come together would be incredible.
Well, with it being, 2021 and you being Mrs. America, there's a really good chance that you may rub elbows with the madam herself.
Oh.
The vice president.
That'd be amazing.
What would you like to say to her?
Oh, man. I think I would thank her. I would thank her for not only the role that she's playing, politically and what we're seeing on TV, but in her everyday life, knowing that every decision that she's made has led her to where she is now. I think it's important that she knows, and I think she knows this because I think the whole country, world maybe even is sharing this with her, but that she knows that she's inspired so many people to chase their dreams, to get involved, even civically. If it's, hey, I want to go to law school. Hey, I want to, in the same way that she did. Like, I think it's just so powerful the ways that she's inspiring young Black girls, young South Asian girls, young minorities, but really everyone, young people, seasoned people, I don't want to say old, but everyone. So yeah, I think I would thank her, and then just ask her if there's anything that I could do to, throughout my year, make a difference in some of the goals that she has for our nation.
Yeah, I think I would of course love to see a female Black president. That would have been amazing, and which I feel we will. But I'll take the vice president too. I'll definitely take it.
And I love that she said in one of her first speeches as VP elect that she will not be the last. And I mean, I know that. Like, it's like when a glass ceiling has been broken, people are following. So
and
I have no doubts.
That's I like that. That's important. The glass ceiling has been broken.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
The glass ceiling has been broken.
It has been.
Yes. Yeah. And I think Obama was one thing, but she's she's special.
Yeah.
To us. So I just I just thought about that, and I thought, well, you will be Miss America. I mean, there's a great possibility you could come in contact with her. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I just thought, but I know that would be an honor. Yeah, that would definitely make. Yeah, that would be the highlight. That would make up for 2021. This was all worth it. It was all worth it. All right. What is some good advice that you received, along your way, whether it be while in pageantry or just in life, period, to get you to where you are now?
Yeah. What's meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant for you. That was something that was told to me by someone that I call a big sister to me in pageantry. She was Miss Indiana University the year before me. Okay. And I remember, us competing together in Miss Indiana, it being hard at times when you want a certain outcome, you want to win, and you don't. That was my experience for several years. And I just remember when she said that to me, it was really eye-opening. It's something that I continue reminding myself of. I know for me, I finished grad school last May, and right after getting my Master of Public Health, I went into applying to dozens of jobs, and I remember job rejections being really hard. Like, what do you mean? Like, you don't want me? That's hard. That's what I think really anyone can relate to, just in things not going the ways that we want them at times. But for me, that reminder, that quote of what's meant for you will never miss you, like that's something that I've really just kept in the back of my head that you will absolutely never miss out on what you are supposed to have. And just given me the courage to keep going, to know that there is something for you.
Exactly.
And this sounds weird to say, but I am so thankful for every rejection that I received when I was looking for a job, because I think about how if I had received one of those, I wouldn't have my literal dream job doing what I love so much. And I can't imagine me working anywhere outside of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I mean, I've been there for a little over a year now, and I'm just like, man, it's amazing how literally closed doors are intentional, and they're there for a reason.
Exactly.
They need to lead you to where you're supposed to go.
Exactly.
So that for me, yeah, I mean, that quote, it's been everything.
I definitely, I believe in that. I really do. You know what I mean? It's just, and I don't know, maybe for me so much, if it's just like old people wisdom, and I just, now I know that, trying to rush and do everything is sometimes it's just counterproductive. And I realize now that, just letting things go the way they are going to go, just put in my work, put in my effort, put in, whatever I can do, to make it happen. And then just kind of like saying, hey, it's going to do what it does, or it's not going to do what it does. It's just that. And I've definitely learned a lot with that during the show, once I started the podcast. It's a lot of things that don't go your way. You would like, for it to go your way. You like for this to happen, or for this person to come on, or whatever. And for whatever reason it doesn't happen. But I look at that now and like, well, they weren't supposed to be here yet. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just keep it moving.
Yeah.
So that's a really good, idealistic view to have that you have.
I love that. I love what you share. I mean, it reminds me of even when we talked about the person that missed their flight. Like, I think about that when I'm in traffic, or when I'm like, okay, I've got to get there. And I'm like, just be okay with where you are right now. Like, maybe this is intentional.
Exactly.
Like, it's okay. And
exactly.
I mean, I think that's such a good reminder for us all.
Yeah. And like I said, that's, you can look at that as, you were supposed to win this year. You were supposed to go through this. You were supposed, I mean, though it sounds crazy, you were supposed to, not make some of the parades. You know what I mean? And I just look at that as you were able to focus in a different way.
Yeah.
That's, you know what I mean? Okay, you might not got to do the parade, but I could jump on the Zoom with, these kids or whatever, you know what I mean? And I could do something this way.
Yeah.
So that's all, you know what I mean? It's just, like I said, it just comes down to, you're either going to fold or you're going to stand up. And really that's where you were placed with the win, is either you're going to fold or you're going to stand up, because this went south quickly, and I thought we were almost free. Now it seems like we're going back, in reverse. Everything's shutting back down, and now here we go. So, how's the COVID, played on you and everything that you...
Yeah, it's definitely been a hard and challenging year. I feel for everyone that has been affected and impacted by COVID-19, and I think that truly is everyone that has in some way been impacted. I lost my great-grandfather to COVID-19, and so I think throughout this year, it's not only been a challenge, just knowing that there are loved ones that I've lost, that we have lost, that people from all over the world have lost, but I think for me, even in the ways that you weren't able to come together for a funeral. So for us, for my family, it was kind of toward the beginning where I want to say the restrictions were real, like it was like 10 people, and we just had something virtually. I threw together a Zoom call for family from all over the country to join in. So yes, definitely feel that, when I think about the challenges of COVID, It's personal for me. It's you know, the ways that it's been a hard year, and I can say that from even just what I've experienced. I think that this year has the potential to really bring people together, and I think it would be unfortunate if we allowed for all of what's happened this year to do nothing for us outside of mourn and you know, cry. Like, I think if nothing else, how can we, I mean, my grandma didn't know how to use Zoom before, and now she does because we had to get together on, you know, how can we grow from this? How can we, I mean, I've loved even just seeing the ways that we can connect virtually with, you know, my aunt in Atlanta and, you know, family in Ohio, and all of us, you know, joining together on a call to celebrate the life of our loved one. But just community, family, coming together. My last thing I'll say, I really do feel in a lot of ways like I experienced 2020 before, and that sounds weird to say, but let me tell you, I had.
I'm so sorry for you.
Well, no, I mean, and when I say that, you know, that's a stretch, but
Right.
I remember several years ago having a performance. I used to do speed painting, so I would do performance art where in front of an audience I would paint something.
Well, is that like when you see the people, they paint and they flip the thing upside down?
Yeah,
and
that was it.
Really?
Yeah, that was it.
You can do that?
Yeah.
Oh man, so awesome.
I'll have to show you videos.
That's crazy.
But let me tell you about a really interesting one. In the middle of my performance, my easel collapsed and just fell on the ground, and it was like within a moment of having to realize you have to keep going. Like, I got down on the ground. It was like, I don't even know what else to do. I mean, it wasn't even about the contest anymore because, you know, this was a competition. It's like, I probably lost. That's fine. My talent just broke. Right. But keep going. Like, that's all that you have. I mean, you've got to, at the end of this, be able to show for something. And I think about that a lot, I think this year, just because I remember my willingness to keep going, and I remind myself now, you've had your easel drop before. You've had what felt like life just falling apart. Yeah. Get down on the ground if you have to. Pick up that brush. Yeah, like, we're not stopping. We're not quitting. And hold up, whatever that is that you can come up with in the end. Like, hey, it doesn't look pretty. It's hard. 2020.
But I didn't quit.
Yeah. And I mean,
I didn't quit.
That's what matters. That's what matters. So
that. I like that. Yeah. I would have freaked out. God,
I have to shout out the song because while I'm painting, I always have music to keep it fun, and I think the song was a really big motivator. It's called Fight Song. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's like, this is my fight song. The chorus part kicked in literally when the easel drops, and it's like, this is my fight song, take back my life song. Like, it's literally about fighting, and I was like, fight. Like, it was just like, you have to, like, keep going. Just you got to do that. So, yeah, I feel
because I used to dance when I was younger, and that was like, oh man, just the thought, not doing it, just the thought of just forgetting the routine or falling off the stage, just the thought was numbing to me. Just, I can't even imagine. You know what I mean? Like, it never happened. You know, luckily, but I can't even imagine. You know what I mean? That when that easel dropped. Oh wow. Yeah, that's a billion things going through your mind at one time.
Oh yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not to give up though. Is to go ahead and finish it out. That was more powerful than the entire painting.
No.
Yeah.
That was for Miss Indiana University, and I won. So that was crazy.
Yeah, and that's probably why. Yeah, it might have been why you won.
Yeah.
Is that they saw that you didn't give up, because you could have easily been like, you know what, sorry, I tried, and then walked off, and they'd have been like, well, you could have tried to finish, but you did. You didn't even miss a beat. You just jumped down and like, oh, well, I'm doing this. That's awesome. That's Mrs. Indiana.
Oh, thank you.
That's what Mrs. Indiana does. 2020.
And so to challenge myself to do. Yes.
So what else you got? What else you got coming? What else you got going on? I mean, of course, Miss America.
Yeah, I was
Mrs.
going to
America,
say, I
but-
think a big focus for sure is not only preparing for Mrs. America and all of, the fun wardrobe and the amazingness of the week, but even just mentally preparing, physically, spiritually. I've been working out several times a week. Divine Transformations in Bloomington is kicking my butt, but definitely getting me in shape. And throughout the remainder of my year, so we are scheduled to have a new Mrs. Indiana in April.
Okay.
So just really thinking through how I can, the goals that I have remaining. Like, I want to hit the ground running. I want to end the year strong. And there's so many more things I want to do. So lots in the works.
Okay. Now, and you said that, and it made me think about something. Now, do you have anything to do with like maybe mentoring or maybe coaching a little bit any of the upcoming contestants, or after the winner? Do you have any responsibility to come back and say, hey, you can do this, or whatever?
Yeah, so sisterhood is a really, really big part of it. Not just in, being friends, but absolutely in being a mentor, being a big sister.
Right.
I'm kind of young for the Mrs. Division, so maybe I'll be like a big little sister. But yes. When I competed in Mrs. Indiana, the current Mrs. Indiana, Haley, was huge in not only encouraging us, but, just checking in, what do you need? We have a group chat, so that'll,
Okay.
For our incoming class, that'll definitely be something that we continue. But more than anything, just being here as a resource. If there are any women that are competing or even thinking about competing, maybe someone listening is like, I've always wanted to, but I've never known if that was for me.
Right.
Absolutely reach out to me. I'd love to, help you through this journey and know that you're not alone in figuring anything out at all.
Okay. And now, and how do they, all the different ways to go about you to get a hold to you? If they now, because I know that you were accepting donations for Mrs. America. Did you finish that out, or are you still looking for help, or?
I did meet my fundraising goal for Mrs. America. I will
Okay.
say, if anyone is still interested in being a sponsor, I'm definitely still taking sponsorship. So
And
if
how do
someone
they go about that?
Reach out to me directly. You can on our website, mrsindianaamerica.com, find all my contact information, or any social media platform you can find me. Facebook, you can reach out to me directly, Justice Kelly, Kelley, or we also have our Mrs. Indiana Facebook page. Also on Instagram, same thing. I have my personal page, Justice Kells, Kells, or also the Mrs. Indiana America pageant. So I would say just reach out to me. I'm definitely excited to hear from more people, and if anyone is looking for ways that they can give back, there's a scholarship that I'm hoping to start for a young person who wants to further their education. So if any of what I'm working on this year, someone says, I want to get connected with that, or I want to partner with you,
Exactly.
I'm definitely looking for those opportunities.
Okay. Well, we hope we can help you here.
Yes.
So you guys get on it. Reach out and help her out. We got to get her to be Mrs. America.
Oh.
That's that. The end of that. And don't make me and her dad come down there. You don't want that. Just saying.
I love it.
Well, the street lights are on, Mrs. Kelly, and we have to go in the house now. It's been super fun, but Mom's calling, and so now we got to go in. I've had a ball having you on, talking with you. You have my support, the Block Podcast support for Mrs. America. I'm with you all the way. I know you're going to win, so I'm not really concerned with it because I already know. I can see it. It's supposed to happen. So.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Little girls have to see the curls.
Oh,
There you go.
I love it. I
You
love
like
it.
Little girls have to see the curls.
I will be repeating that. But thank you. This has been such a pleasure. I really appreciate you allowing me to join you for your platform. You're so amazing at what you do.
Thank
and
you.
I love that we got to connect a second time.
Yes,
so
yes.
This is incredible.
I wish I could have got it right the first time, but you know what? Everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
That's right.
This is great.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Catch you next time. Bye. And there we go.
Yay!
We did it again.